TLT stock shooting up a little bit, and I'm going to take the opposite position. What's going on with TLT stock and what are my thoughts? We've got a big week this week, Friday. My expectation for Friday is that employment numbers come in a little juicier than the market is anticipating. In the meantime, kind of what happened today, two things actually happened. Last week, the Federal Reserve announced that they needed a few more two-year notes, that they were shy on their two-year notes. This sent yield downward as price shot up across the board with all yields. That to me was a trigger event for going short TLT stock. The reason why is because Friday's economic number is probably going to show that the Federal Reserve, at the very least, cannot lower interest rates. They're not in a position to lower interest rates. That this economy, because of employment, because of inflation, is moving forward, yet at the same time, the Federal Reserve's target rate of 2% is a long way off. Very possibly, the Federal Reserve needs to actually raise interest rates, if but 0.25%, if nothing more, just start pounding their chest and saying, we're not there, which would drive yield higher, if nothing more. That would send stocks lower, yield moving higher, TLT stock goes lower. This is how I'm breaking down my trade. I'm actually putting on a risk reversal. I'll be selling calls on TLT stock, buying puts, looking for about 2 weeks out. Going into Friday's number, I wanted to do a hit it and quit it real fast, maybe 1 or 2 days holding on to it, but I think I'll probably be out of the market on Friday. Let's jump in and I'll break down some of the charts I'm looking at. Here's a quick look at the US 10-year Treasury yield, which of course pushed TLT stock up higher. 4.25% on Friday when we got the information that the Federal Reserve was interested in more two-year notes, sending price of Treasuries higher, yield in the inverse goes lower. Today, stock market sells off a little bit, flight to quality. Price goes higher as money moves into the US 10-year Treasury. That, of course, pushes price lower, the inverse as well. So, given where the US 10-year Treasury yield is, let's take a look at what has happened with TLT stock. Nearly hitting 96. We're about 95 and a quarter right now. At the time of this, we still have a few more hours left in the trading day. My take on this, in the next 2 days, today being Tuesday, mid-market, by Friday, we don't see 98, so I'm stepping in, selling 98 calls 2 weeks out, about 10 days, next Friday, not this Friday coming. Given that, also, because we're at 95, I'm looking at 3 cents higher to sell those calls on TLT stock. 3 cents lower would be 92. Those are super cheap to buy relative to the 98 calls to sell. So my ratio is actually about 4 to 5 if I wanted to kind of get a ratio like that, but I went straight on it. It's a credit spread in the sense that what I'm selling on the TLT stock calls, I'm bringing in more premium than I'm having to pay on the 92 puts for TLT stock. I'll take that. I'll take a credit spread all day long on something like that. Because of that, if the market in the next 10 days stays between 98 and 92 and does nothing, I make a couple pennies. All right, but I'm waiting for Friday. Friday we'll get non-farm payrolls. Again, we are likely to see numbers that are a little more robust than the market is giving credit to. In the meantime, however, there is that one sort of major asterisk. What if the stock market sells off? What happens to TLT stock at that point? Bond yields could move lower as money rushes into treasuries. Because of that, that pushes TLT stock up. That's pretty much the one thing that I'm kind of like, ooh, that'll be interesting. We got last week on Thursday, the 29th, the day that doesn't really exist, personal expenditures. And this is where I start all of my sort of analysis. I look at personal incomes and personal expenditures. And as you can see, expenditures are moving higher overall on a year-over-year basis. What does that mean for the overall economy? As the rate of growth of consumers moves higher, so too do revenues for companies. Companies bring in more revenues, they hire more people. They hire more people, which means more individuals contributing to personal incomes moving higher. It's a cycle. And although we did see moves lower in employment, it was a flyby. It really never even kind of happened. PCE, the core PCE inflation deflator, it's an index, a deflator from looking backwards. I think the current deflator is 1989 or something like that. We're seeing the number moving lower. We are sub 3% for the core rate, but we would need to see significant declines in the month-over-month rate in order to get the year-over-year rate in line with the Fed's target rate. And I just don't see it with this interest rate numbers. I know I've been saying this for some time, but we continue to see that play out. My strategy when it comes to playing this is, listen, the market has it wrong. Because of that, I'll front run any particular economic data point. The market moves based on that, but then the market says, but we don't care afterwards. I make those quick profits and I run. By quick profits, these economic data points usually show up about an hour before the market opens. Once the market opens, within about an hour afterwards, I'm out. I take that money and I run that fast because they can turn around real fast as the market, broadly speaking, ignores it and just keeps pushing forward because the Federal Reserve has not started chattering in some kind of way that would push TLT stock in its direction that it needs to go for a considerable period. Here's non-farm payrolls. This is kind of the what I'm looking for. I think we see plus 250. I don't know that we necessarily see a big number plus 250. We may see some revisions to the past 2 months. We always get revisions. I shouldn't say we may. We will absolutely get revisions. We always do. Going back 3 months or so. And then after a while, you get more revisions. But I think the number is going to be above 250. I'll take the over 250 on that one. And because of that, you're going to see bond yields, the yields themselves spike, which would send TLT stock lower. And that's what I'm looking to play. Now, given that, again, Friday, I'm probably out on Friday. Plain and simple. My time frame is extremely tiny. That when I'm playing TLT stock, I'm usually playing one economic data point and then I'm out. So overall, yeah, TLT stock may move higher for some period of time, but generally speaking, I believe Treasury yields are nowhere where they need to be to contain inflation, that the Federal Reserve needs to push these interest rates higher. Incomes are moving higher. Consumption is moving higher. Revenues for companies continue to grow, and companies will respond to take advantage of the current moment up until the Federal Reserve says and does something. If you're looking to follow on TLT stock, make sure to hit that like and follow button. It's something I trade on a regular basis. I try to put a video out at least once a week on TLT stock. We'll see you in the next video.